You know, not surprising, last night I was working when Monday Night Raw came on. And quite frankly, like a lot of people, I try to watch Raw when I can, but it's just like, it's just something missing with Raw, you know what I'm saying? I think it's more along the lines that there's something missing with Raw that's not making it. I mean, it is interesting at times, don't get me wrong, but there's something with it that lacks. What is that word? That lacks substance. That lacks meaning as being something people want to tune in and watch. It lacks that certain pizzazz. And I know WWE's trying their best to get people to pay attention. I mean, heck, they're offering the damn WWE Network for free this month, which saved me pretty much $10. If not already, pretty much saves me $10 all the way through. But still, saving $10 or not, the WWE still has a lot to overcome. You see, with the WWE, it's the lack of depth, it's the lack of substance, it's the lack of pizzazz, it's the lack of basically what makes them good. And they have all that, they just haven't really instrumented it yet. They haven't really put all the instruments that need to be put in the proper places into play. They have not yet done that. You know, they have yet to do that. And when you don't put the proper pieces of a puzzle into place, the puzzle doesn't look right. The puzzle itself comes out wrong. And that, my friends, is a straight fact. No matter how you try to view the puzzle will not come out right if it doesn't look right. You know what I'm saying? The puzzle needs to be right. And there's a lot of pieces that are missing, if you will, for WWE's puzzle to be complete. Now, last night on Raw, though, they did something that made even piqued my interest. Now, even though I went to work at 6:30 last night, I still had time here, I should say, to go to ringsidenews.com and look up some spoilers or live result spoilers for Raw. And I read that Vince McMahon had made his return. Now, we all know when Vince McMahon makes his return to television, whether it's by video, by satellite, or it's by live appearance, sometimes it's called desperate time, call for desperate measure. And that's what we had here. We had a desperate measure. Another reason as well is because sometimes you know something is about to go down that needs your attention. I mean, why else would Vince McMahon be there except to plug the fact that WWE Network is for free in November? And that means Survivor Series, one of my personal favorite pay-per-views, is for free. But with that said, you know that anytime Vince McMahon has been there, especially as we get close to one of the big four pay-per-views or so, that he's going to have an announcement that's going to involve that pay-per-view, and it's not just for the fact that it's free. So when you have Vince McMahon come out and say, hey, we're going to raise the stakes, and then at Survivor Series, when Team Cena takes on Team Authority, that if Team Authority doesn't win, there will no longer be an Authority, and on top of that, the Authority, Triple H and Stephanie themselves, will advocate the power. In other words, they will forfeit, they will basically hand over their power and control to whoever is named as the new Authority or the new general managers. With that said, a lot of people probably ask this question, and I just read something on Bleacher Report. Why make this stipulation now? I understand now, why make this kind of stipulation? Why tease the potentiality that the Authority could be no more? Here's why. Get people's attention. You see, some fans are back and forth on the Authority storyline. Some feel it's one of the best things going in WWE right now, and some feel as though it's run its course and it needs to go. And you know what? It all depends on which side you go on. I think the Authority, honestly, I think it's all right in a sense. I think when I see the Authority, I see a group of heels in Triple H and Stephanie that act cool and neutral. Yeah, they show favoritism, towards certain superstars and divas. No doubt about that. But when I see that, and then when I see in the Michael Cole interviews with Triple H and maybe Stephanie, and when I sometimes see on television, I see sort of a cool factor, sort of a neutral cool factor. In other words, they are favoring Seth Rollins and the Stooges and Corporate Kane and anybody else that sides with them. But, in a sense, you also see a cool factor to them. Like when they're in the ring sometimes it's like, hey, this is going to bother us, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes they use what you say against you. Like about a month ago, they were in Chicago. Fans were chanting for CM Punk. What did Stephanie McMahon do? She insulted in a cool, neutral kind of way, in a cool, neutral, heel kind of way. She's like, wow, I didn't know this city cheered for quitters, or something like that. She used that against them. So, to me, I look at the Authority as being a neutral, heel-like duo. In other words, the heels, they do heel tactics, they abuse the power, but they do it in a neutral, kind of cool factor. In other words, it's like you want to hate them, but you hate. It's basically the old saying of, you want to hate them, you love to hate them, but you hate to love them. In other words, that hatred is becoming love. In other words, you are slowly going and turning this Authority group slowly back into baby faces because of the way they kind of played cool against any reactions they may get or any decisions they may make or any favoritisms or stuff they do. They played cool. Now, true, there are moments like last night, well, you'll have someone like Triple H go heel. Go full on, hey, I want this guy to get his ass kicked heel kind of way. You have Triple H go in that direction at times. But, majority of the time, you kind of see him and Stephanie playing it as being cool, neutral. In other words, yeah, we're the heels. We're the Authority. You cross us, you're going to get your ass kicked kind of deal. You're going to get your butt kicked kind of deal. But when I look at the Authority, I look at this group, I see a neutral, cool faction if it just consists of Stephanie, Triple H, and maybe throw in Kane, and there you go. And that's it. And yeah, they're heels. Yeah, fans want to see them to get the comeuppance, no doubt about it. But you have that cool factor about them that, like I said, makes you love to hate them, but in reality, hate to love them. In other words, you start to slowly find yourself cheering for them, and not because they're going up against John Cena on his team, but it's because you're starting to get a kick out of how Triple H and Stephanie kind of play it cool at times. Which is why some people, like this one person at the Bleacher Report, and anybody else, would be asking and wondering, why make a stipulation for Survivor Series where if the Authority loses, they lose power? They're done. They're history. Again, it's all about grabbing your attention. It's about grabbing those people's attentions that like the Authority and hate the Authority, and they makes you want to tune into Survivor Series, which you do pay the $49.95 or $59.95 or $69.95, whatever the cost is, on actual pay-per-view cable, or if you watch it for free on the network. It makes you want to see whether or not the Authority is going to leave and lose the control and power, or if they're going to stay in power. It makes you want to see whether, what's going to happen. Because like I said, there are those that like the Authority because of what I mentioned. They look at them probably like I do, like a neutral, cool heel faction that basically plays it cool. That brushes anything you might say off, or uses anything you might say against you. And you like them for it. You love them for it. So, obviously the question will be, where do they go from here as we get close to Survivor Series? Now, potentially, already we've got members for Team Authority lined up. Potentially. Potentially we have members officially two members I know of. Two members I know of are Kane and Seth Rollins. That's two. We pretty much can confirm as of last night as of last night on Raw, and even afterwards on the exclusive bonus match coverage on WWE Network, we can assume Rusev is going to be on that team, and possibly Mark Henry. You can assume that because of what came out of Raw last night. So you can assume that Team Authority will be Kane, Rollins, Rusev, Henry, and possibly Triple H. That would be 5 right there. Maybe Bray Wyatt if Triple H doesn't compete. And then on the other side, you could be consisting of John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, Big Show, and 2 other members to be named. But who would those members be? Well, money would suggest that one of them has to be Roman Reigns. It has to be, as a surprise participant. Right? Someone would have to say it's Roman Reigns. The other would have to be Sheamus. That's right. Because if Rusev's going to be on there, you got to put Sheamus on the other side with Cena. So that's how you would have to project that, in the long run. That Sheamus would be on John Cena's team along with Reigns. Or, if Reigns is not cleared yet, you'd be looking at Team Cena consisting of Big Show, Ziggler, Cena, Sheamus, and Randy Orton. That's what you'd have to be looking at against Team Authority. But then the question's going to be, where does WWE go in the end? Do they break up the Authority, and go in a new direction so they can get the viewers back, the fans back? Or do they keep the Authority going up until at least WrestleMania 31? You see, that would be my question. That would be my wondering going into Survivor Series. That's what I'd be wanting to know. That's what I'd be wanting to find out. Will WWE keep the Authority till at least WrestleMania 31, or will they end it here before the year is out? Who knows? But let me know what you guys think about it, and I'll talk to y'all later.